Okay, I'm ready when you are.
Okay. So first, the kind of an assumption on this needs to be that you've purchased a box template or something that comes with the brackets for TV mount, because otherwise none of this will make sense. Okay, so why simply set a TV on a stand when you can hang it on a wall? That's some next level home improvement. In order to do this, all materials need to be gathered. Your anchors and your mounts need to be preset, and the TV needs to actually go on the wall. Most likely, the hardest step is ensuring all tools are available for use because they're hard to get. Having the right tools will ensure the process will run smoothly. Necessary tools will include a level, a drill, and wall anchors. Installing the wall anchors prior to the TV mount is also essential. First, you need to begin by drilling a hole at your desired height, and then you place the wall anchor inside of that. From there, you place the given wall template from the box I mentioned at the beginning to where the anchor hole is exposed. To ensure the template is level, you need to place a level on that as well. You drill a second hole at the appropriate area according to the level from prior to placing the template, and you add a wall anchor inside of that one. Finally, you hold the template in place where the anchors can be seen and screw in the template bracket. Now comes the fun part. The TV mount is very simple to install. Place the mount on the back of your TV. There's usually 4 holes where you can line it up, and you screw those screws that come with the kit inside of that bracket. Now you can hang the TV. You're going to align the mount with the template bracket and release. Usually it'll clip over. Sometimes it just has a hold. It all depends on the template you bought. While hanging TVs may sound difficult, it's quite simple. All materials must be gathered, anchors and mounts need to be preset, and the TV needs to actually go on the wall for this to be successful. Now you have room for on your dresser for your fun.
All right, who wants to go next?
I can go next.
Okay, give me 1 second. Okay.
You ready?
Danielle, right?
Yes.
Finally ready. Go ahead.
Okay. Are you tired of that freezer burn store-bought lasagna? Well, you're in luck. Today I'm going to tell you how to make a lasagna from scratch. My mom has been making this recipe since I was a little girl. Today I'm going to teach you how to make a lasagna. First, we're going to start by gathering our ingredients needed. Second, we're going to cook the raw ingredients. Third, we're going to assemble the lasagna. And fourth, we're going to bake and serve the lasagna. Let's get started with our lasagna. First, purchase all materials needed for the lasagna. The mandatory ingredients and supplies include 6 lasagna noodles, 16 ounces of shredded cheese, mozzarella or your choosing, tinfoil, 1 or 2 pounds of ground beef, a 13x9 baking pan, a pot and a pan for cooking, 40 ounces and 48 ounces of red pasta sauce. I usually use store-bought products, but if you have your own recipe for noodles or sauce, go right ahead. The optional ingredients include a foil 13x9 baking pan for easy cleaning or spices that you'd like to add. Now that all the ingredients are gathered, let's start cooking the lasagna. Now it is time to cook the raw ingredients and prepare the oven. First, set the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit and receive the pot in the pan. Second, cook the ground beef in a pan, drain the excess grease, and add in your red pasta sauce. Third, fill the pot with water, boil 6 lasagna noodles until soft, and drain the water. Now that all the ingredients are cooked, now let's assemble the lasagna. First, receive your 13x9 baking pan and add a little red sauce to the bottom. This will make sure your noodles do not stick to the pan. Next, lay 3 of your lasagna noodles across the bottom of the pan. The noodles should not be on top of each other, rather sitting side by side, covering the bottom of the baking pan. Next, use half of the red pasta sauce with the ground beef and pour over the lasagna noodles already in the baking pan. Next, use half of the cheese and sprinkle over the top of the red pasta sauce that's already in the baking pan. Now we are going to repeat the steps I just said with rest of the ingredients left. So add another layer of noodles, sauce, and cheese and place them in the baking pan. Now that the lasagna is assembled, it is time to bake it. First, cover the baking pan with tin foil. Second, place the lasagna in the oven on the middle rack and set the timer to 45 minutes. At 45 minutes, check the lasagna to see if the cheese is golden brown. If the cheese is golden brown, the lasagna can be taken out of the oven, cooled, and served. Let's review the steps we have talked about today. First, we started talking about receiving the ingredients needed. Second, we cooked the raw ingredients. Third, we assembled the lasagna. And fourth, we cooled and served the lasagna. I hope you will choose this homemade lasagna over freezer-burned store-bought lasagna any day.
All right, food is always very popular for Speech2. Do we have any other recipes?
I have one.
Great, let's make a little cookbook with our speeches.
All right, I just want to make sure everyone can hear me okay from this distance. Can you guys, the volume traveling well?
Yes, you're good.
Okay. All right. So guys, it is October, Halloween season. And right around the corner is going to be Christmas. So 'tis the season for treats. One of my favorite treats for this time of year are these little turtles. I've prepared one for you to see. And these are a really quick, easy treat to make. And I'm just going to show you the simple prep that it takes and then the steps to combine them to get a really easy treat. So we're going to see what we need for this recipe. I usually use the cookie sheet. We have some foil. And then we preheat the oven to 375. It just kind of depends. We only leave it in there so our ingredients get soft. So I'll show you. We have pretzels, pecans, and caramel chocolates. You can get anything you like at the store, just something that has caramel and chocolate in it. So we're going to lay our pretzels out and top those with the the caramel chocolates. And once those are good to go, we'll wait for our oven to be preheated, and then we'll just pop those in. Some other ones that I've been chilling in there. And the next thing to do, once they're all fresh out of the oven, we get the pretzels with the caramel chocolates, and then get our pecans to top it off. You can use anything else. You can use walnuts, another pretzel, kind of whatever you want, just to make it, to your liking. And then I pop them in the fridge so they're nice and chewy when they're all ready to go. So now that you saw how easy that was, we'll just review the recipe one more time. So we want to preheat our oven for 375, lay those pretzels out, caramel chocolates right on top. We pop them in only for a few minutes just to get the caramel chocolate nice and soft. Then we press our pecans into it. And like I said, I like to refrigerate mine so they're nice and chewy. And they're great treats for Halloween, Thanksgiving, any of those happy holidays. So hope you enjoy.
All right. Moving right along. Who wants to go next? Any more food?
Yeah.
You got food?
Yeah.
All right, let's hear it.
All right. Today I'm gonna tell you how to make like a Saudi traditional food. It's we call it like a kabsa. We need to we have some requirements to have we need to have a pressure cooker like this one. We need onion, carrots, like vegetables, and green peppers. Plus we need oil. So we have to put like the oil inside the pot and cook the onion first. And then we have to put the vegetable and, cook it like about 15 minutes. And then we have to put the meat, any kind of meat, it's either beef or chicken. And we have to cook it like about 40 minutes. And we have to put some spices later, like this one. This like a Saudi spices. I'll leave it like about 40 minutes, and then we have to take it out the meat and put it in the oven. After that, we have to put the rice about 15 minutes to cook it, and that's gonna be ready, and that will be it.
Right. Have we exhausted the recipes or do we have more? All right, who wants to go next?
I can go.
Go ahead.
Okay.
All right. Right.
I'm going, right? Is that what we decided?
Oh,
Here.
okay.
Well, you're going. Wait, I'm so confused.
Natasha's face was the biggest. I thought that's what.
Okay, so I gotta reorganize my camera just a little bit. Okay.
No, it's not your camera at all. It's just whoever had the noise going on is the biggest. But okay, so Natasha is going.
Okay, are you ready?
Yes, go.
Okay, so as a nurse, I know the importance of understanding techniques and the tools of listening to a great heartbeat and finding a pulse. So I thought that would be a good introduction to people who may not have ever used a stethoscope, and probably you don't carry it around, but it's a good idea to understand why we use it, what we listen to and what we're listening for, and finding a pulse, because that can be important in a stressful, high-strung situation. So today we're going to go over the tools that we use, the placement of our tools, knowing a normal beat and listening to it, finally finding the pulse and counting the heartbeat. So let's begin with our tool. So I brought my stethoscope. I know not everybody's going to carry one around, but I do as a nurse. So what we do is know our tool. So you have your earpieces. Of course, you're going to face, I don't know if you can see it, the earpieces towards the eardrums. That just magnifies the sound a lot better. The other end, your bell. It's a speaker of everything. So that's great. So we got our tool. Let's go to placing it. The biggest thing is knowing what you're listening to and where you're listening to. So what we're going to listen to today is called the aortic valve. It's the main piece of the heart going everywhere else. So what we do is we count from our clavicle, 2 intercostal spaces, which is 2 rib spaces, down. That brings us right over that aortic valve. So put our bell right over that with our earpieces in. What we're going to hear in a normal patient or anybody in a normal situation is lub-dub. That lub-dub is a clear opening and closing of those valves. So important to know that that's completely normal. Now, if you hear whooshing or anything else, it's definitely a sign, hey, something's wrong. So we're listening, great. We can count those heartbeats. That's great. So let's move on to the pulse. We've got a couple choices for our pulse and kind of tells us what we can feel and what we're feeling for. You've got your neck, you've got your wrist, a bicep, a femoral, and an ankle. Those are the main ones that every nurse or doctor are going to use to check on you. And in an emergency situation, it's really important. So today we're going to go over the wrists. So basically knowing your bones, your ulna, radius are the two main bones in your forearm. Your radius runs right up next to your thumb, lines up with all the little bones in your hand. What you do is you take your index and middle finger. There's a great artery running right over that. Slight pressure, you can feel it perfectly. Normal patient, you can. And what you're going to do is you're just going to feel that pulse. The nice thing is you listen at the same time. You're able to feel and count that pulse. What we do, we count for a minute. As we're counting, we're able to check the heart rate, making sure it's normal, 60 to 80 beats per minute. Knowing that we have a normal patient is key. So we've covered listening, what we're listening for, that lub-dub sound, making sure that we can feel a great pulse in our wrists, and knowing how to count it. Those are key to being successful in a stressful situation and knowing that your patient is okay and that their heart rate is good. So now we can say that I can as a nurse and you can now check a pulse and listen to a heart.
I have never had that speech before, so great job.
I think most of mine is going to be medical related, so it was either this or pulling blood, and I couldn't get my brother to let me pull blood on him, so I figured I would just do this.
Okay, Megan, are you up?
Sure.
Okay. And what's your last name, Megan?
It's Yarich. It's really weird.
Megan, why?
Okay.
Okay.
I'm good.
Whenever you're ready.
Okay. So I'm kind of a crazy cat lady. So naturally I want the best for my cats. And if you want something done right, I guess you have to do it yourself. So therefore my speech is going to be about how to build a cat tree. So I know there's a lot of cat haters out there, so just bear with me for the next 2 minutes or so. So my dad and I decided that our cats needed something to play and scratch on. Thus the cat tree was born. It's literally just a tree with platforms sticking out of it. So the first step in making a cat tree is finding the tree that you want. We chose a 12-foot long cedar, and that worked pretty well. So then you have to groom the tree. We peeled off all the bark and sanded it by hand. And then we chopped the tree so that it would fit into our house and cut off all the extra branches that we didn't want. So now that we have the main structure all smooth and nice, we can add onto it. So we needed a base for the tree to stand on its own. So we found a big pine stump to serve as the bottom of the cat tree. So we sanded this too by hand and with an orbital sander and made it level. So then we put 12-inch lag screws into the base and screwed it into the trunk using an impact drill. So once we had our base on, it was time to work with the branches. The branches are going to be the support for the platforms we add later. So the first part of doing this is level the branches with a circular saw and a sawzall so that they're nice and flat for the platforms to lay on top of them. We cut a slice into the tree so that the platforms could slide into those as well as sitting on top of the branches. So then we covered the whole tree with a clear stain to protect it and make it shinier so the platforms are ready to be built. The platforms are the place where the cat's going to perch on. So in order to make these, we got plywood and cut different sizes and shapes out of them using a jigsaw. And then we covered the various platforms with carpet using carpet glue to hold it in its place. So lastly, we had to attach these platforms to the tree. After the carpet glue dried, we placed the platforms in the pre-cut slits and on top of the leveled branches using Gorilla Glue. So now that the cat tree is finished, let's review. In this speech, I told you how to build a cat tree. You first need to find the tree, then clean it up. Once that's done, you add the base to it and level out all the branches. Cover that with a clear coat and add the platforms to the tree and secure them. Those are all the steps I took to build my cat tree, and my cats love it.
Cool. Who do we have left? I think Stephanie. Hi,
Yeah, I can go.
Stephanie, Jerry, and Marquetta. Is that right?
Yeah, Marquita.
Marquita. I'm sorry. I was saying.
No, you're fine.
And make sure you guys are all picking out someone to peer critique. I don't care who. A quick note on that. Your peer critiques are for my purposes to make sure that you can listen and pick things out. Your person that you're critiquing is not going to get that critique. And there are reasons for that. So yeah, they're for my purposes so you won't be getting a critique back from someone is basically the gist of it. All right, Stephanie, are you up?
Yes.
Okay, whenever you're ready.
Okay. Mornings are tough. Getting out of bed should be an Olympic sport. It's that hard. But you should want to be the Michael Phelps of rolling out of bed, because if you mess with your sleep, it can mess with your everyday life. Today I'm going to explain how to wake up more easily by talking about the importance of sleep, maintaining a good sleep, and what to do when you wake up. I'm a morning person because I've had to get up for 5 o'clock practices every day for the past 7 years. You could say that I've learned a thing or two. So now I'm going to help you become a morning person too. Let's begin by discussing how your sleep is vital to your health. The first key to waking up easier is to understand the importance of good sleep. The effects of chronic sleep loss can lead to heart disease, stroke, and diabetes. This can also impair the thinking and learning processes while contributing to symptoms of depression. Now that we have covered why sleep is important, let's talk about how to maintain a good sleep. The second key to maintain a good sleep in order to wake up better, waking up on the right side of the bed means you have to get a good night's sleep, which means to get enough sleep. 6 to 8 hours ideally. Sticking to a sleep schedule and maintaining a good sleep environment will help you achieve all three. If you're feeling bold about getting quality sleep, cut out caffeine, booze, and screens like your TV and laptop well before going to bed. Also, don't go to bed hungry, full, or thirsty. That will also not help you get a good night. We've discussed how to maintain a good sleep. Now let's talk about what to do in order to wake up easier. While you're sleeping, you can't do much besides sleep. So let's skip that part and get to the final key, which is to wake up. To set yourself up for success, have your alarm clock across the room, so you have to get up to stop it. Don't hit the snooze button, but most important, have goals and a plan when waking up in the morning. Why are you waking up early? To work out, eat breakfast, go to class? That's for you to answer. Let's review the keys to waking up more easily. We have talked about 3 ways to wake up better. First, we discussed how sleep affects your health and that good sleep is important. Second, we have discussed how to maintain a good sleep. And third, we have discussed what to do when you wake up. Wake up with the mentality of a champion. Now get cracking, because next time you shut eye, you better shut it down.
Okay. Who wants to go next? We have 2 left.
I'll get it over with.
Okay.
Okay.
Whenever you're ready.
Okay. Are you a person that don't know how to focus on your goals or your dreams? Well, if you create a vision board, maybe that would be a focus for you to attain those. So how do you create a vision board? You would need the following items for your vision board: a poster board or a small canvas, some glue or a glue stick, scissors, which I don't have, markers, and pictures from a magazine or words. First, figure out what you want your goals to be achieved in a specific amount of time, such as 3 months, 6 months, or a year. Write them down. Next, find your pictures in a magazine that will represent you and your goals or dreams. Cut out the pictures out of the magazine, and then you can do a dry run on wherever you want to place those pictures or words on your poster board, or even a piece of paper or a small canvas. But don't glue the pictures. You want to make sure that you want to visualize where you want to put your pictures out on the board. Arrange it in any order that you want. This is up to you. And then when you're done with that, you can apply the glue to the back of the picture. Put the glue pictures on the back of the poster board or a small canvas. And you can add motivational or affirmation words, which will encourage you. And by that, you can do this by using markers, pens, or cutting out the words out the magazine. The next step you can do is take a few minutes every day to visualize on your vision board to see if those will come true or not for you. after a timeline of that you have given yourself, you can go back to see if you have met your vision on your vision board or your dreams. If not, just don't give up. Just keep going and try to see if you can obtain those goals or visions within, another timeline that you want to give yourself. So to recap, what you need to do is just attain pictures from the magazine and words. And really, this is just to focus on anything that you would like to achieve, especially while you're in college. So happy vision board creating.
I remember making those in high school. we did them right before college in our homeroom class. Okay. Gary, are you dropping the mic today?
Probably not.
Give me 1 second.
All right.
Okay, whenever you're ready.
All right. So today I'll be talking about a very fun and addictive toy that's been baffling some minds for about 40 years. It has 6 sides and 26 pieces, and if you haven't guessed it by now, it's a Rubik's Cube. The easiest steps to solving a Rubik's Cube is sort of breaking it down in layers. Now, the Rubik's Cube obviously has 3 layers, and the first step in solving that is the first layer. So I have a couple different Rubik's Cubes to help show you. So if you notice here, the first step is making this plus sign. You can start on whatever side you like, and you line up with each color and the cross. The next step, still being just as easy, is you create a whole layer, a whole side. And make sure when you do this that you get all the same colors lined up with the correct side. After you completed the first layer, it makes sense to do the second layer, which is obviously right here, right in the middle. You just insert pieces into right next to the centers, and voila, your second layer is done. Then, just follow in order here, we're going to do the third layer, the last, and you have to start by making a cross just like you did on the top. So we'll do that real quick. So now we have this cross just like we did on the first layer. After completing the cross, you'll get one solid side for the top. Your 2 layers are completed here. Your bottom's still looking fine. And then you'll complete the third layer by working some magic. And voila, your Rubik's Cube is solved. To go over what we just talked about, we're solving the Rubik's Cube, and we're going to solve it layer by layer. First, second, and third, and then we just finish it off.
Okay. I'm gonna unmute all of you. There was a little feedback, so if you're ever muted, that's why. I just go through and do that. Okay, let me end this recording.